The intense response to the president's comments coming not just from players, but also from fans.
ESPN's Ryan Smith covering that part of the story from outside MetLife Stadium, where the New York Jets will play a little bit later today. Ryan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan and Paul. You know, at stadiums like these, Sundays are for football. But after President Trump's comments and criticisms, today is about so much more. Stars across the sports world are speaking out about what one called the president's divisive rhetoric.
This morning, the president's fiery words setting off a national firestorm.
He's now using sports as the platform to try to divide us.
Overnight, Oakland A's catcher Bruce Maxwell became the first MLB player to kneel during the anthem.
I really can't remember the momentum building on something like this.
NBA star Kobe Bryant tweeting, a POTUS whose name alone creates division and anger, whose words inspire dissension and hatred, can't possibly make America great again. A wide range of opinions shared by NFL fans across the country.
For our president to say anything but everyone should stand for the flag would be ridiculous.
Stand up for your flag. It's your country. Be proud of it.
We have a First Amendment in this country, and I think that allows people to express how they feel.
I agree with the president. We should be more respectful of the flag.
Meanwhile, former NFL star Reggie Bush tweeted he'd rather take a knee for Colin Kaepernick before standing with Donald Trump.
I would say that odds are that today you will see the most unified group of players kneeling for the national anthem that you have ever seen.
And just this morning in London, in reaction to the president's comments, players on both sides of the field, the Jaguars and the Ravens, showed their solidarity with players who have decided to kneel.
All right, Ryan, we have former NBA player and ESPN host Jay Williams standing by to join in the conversation. Jay, we're going to ask you to jump in a minute. But Ryan, you just heard from Darren Ravel. He expects a unified presence from NFL players. But what type of reaction might we expect at stadiums around the country today?
Well, I think Paula, Darren hit it right on the head. The idea is today we could see more protests of the flag than we've seen ever before at this point. I don't think anything specific has been planned yet, but I think what will be interesting is how the players respond. We've seen it online, we've seen it from stars and sports stars all across the sports landscape of folks wanting to make their opinion heard, and we could see that in a variety of different ways today on those football fields.
Jalen, we'll bring you in. This has been a somewhat lonely quest for Colin Kaepernick. One poll shows that nearly half of Americans oppose what he's been doing. He's been unable to get a job as a consequence, many people feel. But are we at a point now where, because of Donald Trump, actually we could see a lot more people streaming to Colin Kaepernick?
Yes, I do. I think, first off, he's galvanized the whole sports community. And I think it's really funny, as an ex-athlete, you get this whole statement, stick to sports. Now people say to Donald Trump, oh, stick to politics, but he's opened that door for other sports athletes, you know, i.e. LeBron James, Stephen Curry, Chris Paul, the basketball community to come into this play as well. So I think today's going to be a very special day where you're going to hear a lot of voices really come to support Colin Kaepernick.
And just kind of on that note, too, you just said stick to sports. You hear that all the time, but people really don't like it when sports are politicized. But at the end of the day, do you think this will benefit the world of sports?
It's interesting to watch the culture continue to grow, because what I'm finding is it becomes more divisive. If you say anything politically online, people automatically attack you. And I think when you think about the flag, you think about the American ideals. And one of those ideals is the First Amendment, is freedom of speech. You should be able to protest as long as it's peacefully done. I think people need to learn how to support and just respect each other. But our president continues to pour fuel on the fire of all this chaos. He loves to control the chaos.
Well, let's go back to Ryan for a second. Ryan, it's hard to ignore the racial component here. The president went on this jag on Friday night in front of a largely white audience. What's your view on the racial component here?
Well, I think there's a lot of talk now about coded language. You think about what he said, disrespecting our heritage, we, to that largely white crowd. I think there's a lot of folks out there that look at this and say, what are you really trying to say here? You know, when you talk about if somebody doesn't do what I think, they should be fired, if they're speaking a point of view, even peacefully protesting, as Jay mentioned, they should be fired. You know, these players, they're not chattel. They are people, and they are people who have a point of view just like your ordinary citizen out there. So I think a lot of people today are responding to the idea of this coded language that just because you're making a lot of money, you don't have a right to say what you want to say. Whereas at the same time, not too long ago, he was respecting the opinions of others in Charlottesville that many people felt were using very divisive terms, holding different items that were very scary for many people.
Yeah, and yes, they have ownership, but they're not products. And on that note, you know, most of these owners, Jay, are conservative. I believe 8 of them donated to President Trump's inaugural campaign. But what kind of predicament does this put them in to choose between basically their political allegiance and their players?
I think they're going to choose their players, and Roger Goodell has already came out statements as saying, hey, this divisive talk is not the talk that the NFL needs. And you have no other direction to go other than to support your players. You're not doing anything malicious. Now, whether you bring Colin Kaepernick back to a team, that's different. He brings a lot of media attention, even though his quarterback rating is better than all the backups and half the starters. He belongs on the field. It's a matter of somebody having the moxie to step up and do the right thing, which is to bring a great quarterback back to the NFL.
Jay Williams and Ryan Smith, we thank you both for your astute analysis on a Sunday morning. We really appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.